Yep, it's Emerald City, and look who I've run into here in Seattle. It's Kris and Joy.
Hello.
Hi. And I was just about to do my panel, and you all walked up and said, "Oh, hi, we're
Outdoor Trek.
Outdoor Trek." Yes. So tell me about that. I've read about it and the group in Portland, and not to get them confused, but the Portland group has since stopped producing, right?
That's correct. Yes.
And you were a different slice anyway, but you do Star Trek scripts in your own way, outdoor live, right?
Right.
So tell me about it. And you're playing Captain Kirk.
I am playing Captain Kirk.
Which gives us a hint to some of the interpretive license that's going on with the shows. So tell me what's...
Well, we were inspired by Portland, Trek in the Park.
Atomic Arts.
Yes, and as Larry mentioned, they've finished their run. They did a 5-year mission, basically an episode every summer in the park, adapted from the original series. And we really, really liked what they did, and we wanted to do something similar, but a little different. We kind of felt like every city should have Star Trek. It's a lot, to us, like Shakespeare.
Yeah.
It's timeless. It's always going to apply. There's always messages that will mean something. So that's kind of what we started with. And then Kris can tell you what we did with this.
So we decided that since we were going to be sort of bringing this to a new audience, hopefully, or at least making people look at it in a different way, that we didn't have to be tied to what the original series had done in terms of the casting, that we weren't trying to imitate it. We were trying to sort of bring a different sort of life to it. And so we
have everybody go, "Oh, your Chekhov's hair is too dark brown." That's not
exactly. But if you make Chekhov a girl or something else, then you know the discussion is different, and so the questions that raises are different. And so we're not really trying to answer those questions so much as get people to think about all of this stuff in a different way. And so we cast basically what we think is good for the character, the relationships between the characters, and what's good for the company. And that can be any race, any gender, you know, any age.
Which is something people do with Shakespeare, which kind of emphasizes the timelessness of the characters and the humanity that's there regardless, right?
And we're trying to embrace the kind of diversity that the original series was bringing to television, but we don't have to do it in exactly the same way. So that's our attempt.
So when was this? When did you start?
We started in 2010 with the Naked Time. And then after that we did This Side of Paradise. We skipped a year and then did Devil in the Dark. So our episode choices weren't the classic, most recognized...
No, I can instantly see why you were picking those shows. Yeah, that's
and
kind of ripping open characters in a lot of ways.
Naked Time and This Side of Paradise have really large casts, so that was really good for us.
And it gives everybody something to do. So.
And Trek in the Park they did Amok Time, they did Space Seed, they did Mirror Mirror. So we were trying not to compete with them. We chose slightly different ones. Now that they're done, we did a vote at the end of our last episode to find out what people were interested in. And the vote was almost unanimous for Mirror Mirror. So we're doing Mirror Mirror.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
And the other advantage to that is that we've had a couple years to kind of figure out how we're doing this and what we're doing. And, you know, as people who have, you know, just started a grassroots theatrical organization, you know, give us some time to you know, find our footing and then tackle the big ones.
We always use live music, so they're scheduling the band and the cast, making sure that all of that will work. So in the past we've done 4 performances, and it kind of depends. We're really hoping next year to move it up to 8, but you know, we have to work with all of
a lot of logistics, a lot of coordination and everything. So are you like a non-profit? Do you pass a hat? Are there formal...
Yeah, we do pass a hat. And I mentioned the vote at the end of last year. The vote was actually 3 bins that had Amok Time, Space Seed, and Mirror Mirror, and you could choose to donate to one of them. And so we just put all of that money back into Outdoor Trek. So it is a non-profit, and we've been able to make enough through donations to support the venture for the next year.
I mean, do you have a lot of overhead? You were talking about how you're keeping things kind of loose and suggestive and all that. People get it, but you're not worrying about my hem on my uniform is 1/8 of an inch off because you're just going kind of free form, like you almost, like you said, what you got on
this
now.
is kind of an example of something that we might do. So like Uhura wore a similar costume to the, obviously not this color, but so it won't be...
There's a limit to some things.
So the costumes, the set, the props will not look exactly like the original series, but they're always an interpretation. So for instance, the technology in the original series is very interesting and not at all similar to the direction we moved in with, you know, touchscreen technology. But so we've used like an old laptop with floppy disks as the computer for several scenes, and that we can all buy used.
Oh, you microtapes,
And there's also kind of a recursive quality to using like a flip phone as a communicator. You know, because you have the whole inspiration becomes the thing goes back into.
It's a meta thing. Now tell me real quick your cast, because we have some right here that we didn't mention yet.
Yes, Kris is Captain Kirk. And Spock is also played by a girl, and McCoy this year will also be played by a girl.
So it's not a, let's have all the guys be, it's not like an Uhura and Chapel are men, it's just kind of, it's...
A lot of times people think like, oh, so this is a girl's part and I'm going to play against a guy, so then I have to just, it's just sex blind casting. So we have...
And it's not like a raving feminist theater that we're going to use, you know, kind of a thing.
Exactly, I mean,
whatever happens, happens, but that's...
Feminist,
right.
But we're not casting women because we think it's important that women get to play cool roles, but really we just want to do what's best for the part. So we really felt like Kris was best for Captain Kirk for the message that we wanted to put across.
I was going to say, part of this is just what you leave people with. Maybe sounds like two levels. One is, wow, that was like Shakespeare. It's Star Trek, and it was the episode, but it still worked. It made me think of what is at the core of that, and it also shows the versatility of Star Trek.
Right.
Exactly. That's a great way of, because for us, Star Trek is so much about diversity, and like I've said, the themes will apply universally for all time. And so if we can get, I mean, a lot of people say that the original series is sexist, which I understand that they say that, but it was also really progressive. It was really positive, and the things that were sexist about it were, I feel like, a result of the time, whereas the people involved, I feel, were so far ahead of that time.
There's a lot of subversiveness in Star Trek that you don't get now, but they were very, what Gene was deviously trying to do.
It was really, for the time period, it was so advanced, and we just respect that so much. So instead of saying, oh, the original series is sexist, let's fix it, it's more like, no, the original series was amazingly progressive. But now we're in 2014. Let's continue to progress.
Take those kernels.
So we still feel that we're being true to that spirit rather than subverting that original message.
You know, it's another thing of, well, it's important to know the context. But then it's like, well, how can it be timeless if you have to know the context? So, but
there are a lot of arguments.
Shut up and let's just get on with it. Let us do it, and we'll show you what we mean.
If I'm standing there on stage and you're still calling me Jim, and they keep saying he for me, and the audience has to think, why are they doing that? Whatever answer they come to is okay. The fact is that they've had to rethink that character. They've had to go back and say, like, either, well, Kirk can't be a woman, or wait, that's okay, and here's how I feel about it. You know, so it's just, it's asking that question.
Now, have you had any kind of interaction with CBS or anybody, or?
No.
I mean, you're nonprofit and obviously very low key and local. And
we try very hard. I mean, not just a nonprofit, but we don't sell any merchandise. We have hopes of maybe making donations for various things that are outdoor Trek related, but it's not for profit. So it's a tribute to the series. So we really hope that they would see it that way. If they
you guys have a theatrical background or performing background, or anybody else involved, major filmers?
A lot. Well, it's interesting. Our cast is usually made up of, there are some Trekkies, there are some actors who hardly ever seen Star Trek, and then there's sort of a middle ground where you know, they're cool. It's cool they get to combine those things, and I'm in that group. Well, I mean, I helped start the company also, both of us, but I have acted in a lot of stuff around town and around here.
And I'm the director, and I had never directed anything before this. It's kind of interesting, though, because I work at the Science Center here, and I'm actually in charge of the stage. So we blow stuff up. I tell people how to talk about science. It's all about science education, so there's this
get them to the technobabble, but the purpose, Well, okay, so this has been awesome. I've read about you guys from afar, and I was sad when I heard the Portland guys were shutting down after their 5 years, but so great that you're going. And so how can people find out? You have a website? You have a Facebook page? Anything?
Yes. We are online at HelloEarthProductions.com. That's Hello Earth, like. And we're also on Twitter at Hello_Earth. And if you look up Hello Earth on Facebook, you'll also find us there. So Facebook, Twitter, or our website.
So Outdoor Trek won't get you anywhere unless it redirects you.
You will find, if you just Google Outdoor Trek, you'll get a lot of hiking, and that's kind of the problem. The name of our theater company is Hello Earth, and Outdoor Trek is the main thing that Hello Earth has done. If you Google Outdoor Trek Seattle, you still might get a lot of hiking, but you'll eventually find us. But if it's Hello Earth and Outdoor Trek, you're sure to find us.
I have a little bit of that with Trekland, but same thing. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for. This is amazing that we ran into this.
No, and it's wonderful to meet you.
10 minutes before my panel, but this is the wonder of media and conventions and stuff like that. There.
Fantastic.
So anyway, thanks for taking a second to talk. Oh, great. And now we'll go in. Okay.